Hello friends, welcome to Communication Skills for Everyone. Today, let us learn the poem A Poison Tree by William Blake. The poem A Poison Tree by William Blake is about the ill and corrupted effects of anger. The poet discusses with us how that once he was angry with his friend and told him about. So, in this way, the anger disappeared. However, on the other hand, he was angry over his enemy too, but because they never told him about it. So, the anger kept growing in his mind against him. So, here against him, the enemy, he forced himself to keep it hidden from his enemy and would use to make fake smiles in front of him. So whenever he looks at his enemy or his friend treated as enemy, so he smiles, fake smiles. This anger is symbolized by a poison tree bearing a fruit which poet's enemy happens to steal, right? Hence dies. So here in this poem, it also explains about this. So also this rhyme scheme of this poem A BB. So this is divided into four stanzas. This divided into four stanzas. We can have a look here. Four stanzas having four lines each. So a poison tree analysis. When we look at this stanza one, so here the poet says that. So he was angry with my friend. So with his friend over some issue, maybe over some issue or some problem, and he told him about it. In this way, right, all the anger and hate was occupying his mind against his friend vanished away, right? He talks about vanished away, wrath did end. Now he says that he once got angry with his enemy and couldn't tell him about it. The anger not only remained in the poet's mind but also did grow. So in the stanza, we find how easy it is for a person to reconcile with his friend, although he may be angry with the latter. So, however, on the other hand, it is very easy to get angry over one's enemy, but quite difficult to let it go because we cannot talk to him about it. Hence, the anger and hate against the enemy or friend keeps growing in our mind. So, when we look at the stanza 2, the poet talks about, so he watered it every day and night in fears. So, your fears is something like disclosing his anger before his enemy, and tears that come out of because of hate. So once you are hate, then what happens? The output is different. Maybe it comes out with tears. The lines mean that the poet failed to give up his anger. It kept growing day and night in his mind because he feared from telling about it. So he was scared to talk about it with his friend and also kept memorizing the ill activity. Once your mind is occupied with all ill activity, so what happens here? Poet's enemy might have done. So in the third line, the poet talks about the he shunned his anger with smiles and soft deceitful wiles. Deceitful, right, is here. It must be noted that the poet is symbolizing his anger as a tree which is growing in his mind. So this is again talks about the tree. So like a tree grows well in the sunshine. Similarly, the poet's fake smiles also lead the tree of anger to grow. This also grow. The deceitful tricks and flirts. So here, generally in poems we find it like icing on the cake. All these things made the tree of poison grow up in his mind. So simply, it is growing up in his mind. Every day, it would get stronger, more poisonous, and more difficult to cut or difficult to control. So when we look at the third stanza, the poet talks about the poisonous tree. The poisonous tree of hate kept growing day and night, right? This is growing day by day until a day when it bore an apple bright. So the poet gets deep from here. Bright apple is something which attracts one's eyes and forces him to eat it, like maybe in However, this bright apple is grown by the harmful nutrients like deceit, hate, and tricks. Thus, the bright apple is not good, but a symbol of something bad and quite harmful or painful. We may compare this bright apple with the apple of the forbidden tree, as believed in Christian and Islamic theology. Like in Paradise Lost, Adam and Eve were attracted to the apple of the forbidden tree, but it was rather a fruit that brought disaster in their lives, and they were later expelled from the heaven. Now let us keep comparing poet's enemy with Adam and Eve's enemy. So Eve's enemy is Lucifer. Like Adam and Eve, the enemy of poet was attracted to the bright apple of the poet. So here the bright apple may be a honey trap or something poisonous or so on. So here, like Satan offered the apple of forbidden tree to Adam and Eve, the enemy of poet also took it because he knew that it was from the poet, and the poet was not angry with him. So that one. And when we move to the stanza 4, it's like Adam and Eve's, the poet's enemy, stole in bright apple. This was like trapped in the flat from the garden in mind in the dead night, and ate like Adam and Eve did. Now in the morning, the poet is glad to see his enemy laying dead beneath the poisonous tree, like Satan was pleased to see Adam and Eve being expelled from heaven. So the poet is trying to say that anger makes one Satan, and in pursuit of taking revenge, one may forget that the other person is human too, so that maybe they forget about that they have feelings and emotions, and they may burst out. So this is the poem A Poison Tree by William Blake. And thank you for watching. Subscribe Communication Skills for Everyone for more academic and educational videos.